So for the first project, we're going to be designing a valve housing. Let's get from the very beginning. Go to New, make sure we have our units set up correctly, make sure we're creating a model, we have our folder set correctly. Again, if you don't remember to set your folder correctly, you can always go back and do a save as to save it to the correct location, and then give it a name. Select OK, and there's the start of our file. So what I like to tell people, when you're designing, depending on what you're designing, and like in this case, we're designing a valve housing, we want to make sure we get the main body. Everything's going to attach to that main body, so we want to use that as a reference for everything else. So we'll go into our sketch and task environment, select my XY plane. My horizontal reference is going to be X, and the origin, we'll just use the work part origin, select OK. I want to draw a circle. Once again, when I select that initial sketch origin, it's going to create that constraint to that sketch origin. I'm going to draw my diameter. Now, size of my diameter, I could either just simply click and modify the dimension, or I can just simply edit the dimension right now. Hit enter. And now you can see my sketch is fully constrained. Just finish, exit out. I'm just going to right mouse click and do a fit. Now, the next thing I want to do is draw in my next sketch. It's a separate sketch. It's not going to be a part of the sketch. It's going to be a wholly separate sketch. So I want to make sure I have them separated. I'm going to go into my sketch and task environment again, select my XY plane, same horizontal reference, select OK, and begin drawing. So I'll just use my profile, come in, cross, down, and I want an arc. So I'll just snap that in. To constrain this, I'll just drag this line down to that point. I want to take this arc to that line, say tangent. Now, as I go through and constrain, I want to make sure that I'm getting appropriate geometry. So if for some reason you have a setting set, maybe you accidentally forget to turn on your arc center, like if you try to pick an arc center, you may not get that arc center. You'll notice I actually got the arc, but not the arc center. But if you actually want the arc center, you have to go over here and be very specific to get that arc center. You'll see here that point is highlighted versus the arc. So I'll come back in, specify my vertical axis, and say point on curve. Place this line on the horizontal. We'll say collinear. We'll give this the appropriate radius value, 12.7. And then the last constraint that I need is to go from my horizontal to my point. Now you'll notice I cannot pick my horizontal. It's not allowing me to pick my horizontal. So I'm going to just cancel. Sometimes you just got to go in there, refresh. If you still can't pick your line, you want to make sure you have your method set. Remember previously it was set to radial, and if it's still set to radial, you won't be able to pick that line. So in this case, I want to make sure that you have it set to the correct method of measurement. So I'll go back in, pick my line, pick my center point, and put in my value, close, sketch is fully constrained, and finish. We have one more sketch to make. And that sketch, I'm just going to rotate the part, is going to sit on the ZX plane. Again, this is a wholly separate sketch. I'm going to end up with 3 different sketches in here. Pick my ZX plane. Now, what do I want as my horizontal reference? So if I come in here, in this case, if I pick my Z, that's going to be my horizontal. When I hit OK, it's going to orient my sketch, draw my circle, put that in. And this time, I actually drew the circle in rather than just entering in the dimension. So I'll just cancel out, double click on the existing dimension, and enter in the value, 57.2. Sketch is constrained. Select Finish. Now I have the sketches that are required for my valve housing. At this point, I'm going to save this file. File, save, save. Now, as a note, just as a reminder, you cannot save the part when you're inside the sketch task environment. It's just not possible. So you have to make sure you exit out of the sketcher, and you have to make sure you hit save once you're done to save the part to the appropriate directory.